guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and today I'm doing a little past life with the pendulum. So, I was on Melissa's channel. If you don't know who Melissa Bellavo is, I will put a link to her channel down below. But she was talking about this book. She was doing a review of Pendulum Magic for Beginners, and this is by Richard Webster. So on her request of how awesome it is, I went and got it on Amazon, and it was here the next day, which is nice. Thank you, Prime. Anyway, it's a lot of really interesting ways. I know it says for beginners, but I use my pendulum every now and then, and there are specific ways that I use it, but this opened me up to a whole new level of ways that I could use my pendulum. I've used my pendulum for figuring out my past life before, but this through here was just a more streamlined way of using it. So I just want to show you how I came across one of my past lives. I like to do a lot of past life regression on myself, just trying to figure out, like, if I'm stuck on something, like I have an issue, usually it's kind of cool to like call on a past life and be like, hey, like, did you ever have this issue, me who was you in the past, or and how did you get through it? Or maybe is there a skill that I can call on in my DNA somewhere, or even in my like past life DNA, that can like help me through this issue? So that's kind of why I like to do past life regression. I chose to use my little fluorite. It's a purple and green fluorite pendulum, and it's got a little Nefertiti head at the end. And anyway, so let me let you guys know the types of questions that I asked. This isn't going to be a really fast thing, so to save time on here, I've already done my whole past life reading using my pendulum, but it took me roughly an hour. Yeah, I think I was downstairs for about an hour just asking question after question after question. Remember, you can't ask questions like why or how, so it has to be like a choice between two, or you know, kind of a yes or a no, so because it only can swing one way, or it can swing the other way, or it swings in the I don't know fashion. I just have my little list here. So I came up with questions like trying to figure out my birth. So I asked if I was born in the 20th century, 19th century, 18th, you know, things like that. And I was born, or at least the life that was coming through that's pertinent to what I'm going through right now, and I'll find that out in a second, is I was born in the 20th century, and it said the first half of the 20th century. So then that's when I start going, is it between 1910, 1920, you know, things like that. So I was born 1920, and then I start going by month, and then it landed on March. And then you have to go by day. So it's like, is it between the 1st and the 10th and the 20th, you know, just to kind of save time. And so I was born March 1st, 1920. I did the same thing for my death when I exited, and that was February 11th, 1961. So I was almost 41 years old. I didn't quite make it to my birthday. So I kind of went through and asked what region I was from. It said it was in the like region of Asia, but it was in the a place called Oudh, which is not called that anymore, O-U-D-H, but it's like the top part of India. So back then, you know, if I go between like 1920, 1940 something, it was known as the United Provinces of Agra and Oudh of British India. So it was during the British Raj. So what's kind of cool about doing a past life you know, reading with like a pendulum, is that you get to be like kind of a sleuth, you know, kind of like Indiana Jones. You get to, which I love Indiana Jones, you get to, you know, kind of sleuth around, pull up old maps, try to find out different regions, what was the way of life back then, what type of occupations were there, and things like that. So his occupation, and I found out it was a he, so I was like, was I male or was I female at this time? And I was male. That I was a doctor's assistant. I wasn't a full-on doctor, but I did a lot of doctorly things. I assisted the doctor. I was able to prescribe medications and things like that. Now, here's where I'm going to deviate. So I asked for a name, and I don't know if you can see that. It looks like a jumble of letters. And I was like, okay, I understand that Indian names might have a lot of letters in them, but that actually just looks like a jumble of letters. So I didn't quite understand, but I decided to put them in Google anyway, the first and the last name. So the last name, which was C-A-J-G-B-G, which didn't make any sense. I was like, Kajbuj. So when I put it in Google, it said, did you mean CABG, which is coronary artery bypass graft, which was medical term. And I was like, well, wait a minute, this guy was a doctor's assistant. And so when I put the pendulum over the picture of the abbreviation or the acronym CABG, I was like, are you trying to tell me that you were a heart doctor? It's like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. So he wasn't really giving me his first and last name, but he's giving me, knowing that I'm going to Google this crap. He's knowing that I'm going to Google it, and it's going to take me to what he's actually trying to tell me. So then taking this first name, which is kind of crazy, I typed it in and it comes up with, Google came up with, did you mean the BCABBA, which is the British Columbia Amateur Bodybuilding Association? And so it's got like, you know, these like really like ripped bikini models on the front. And I'm like, so you worked on the human body? He's like, yes. Did you work on muscle tissue? He's like, yes. I'm like, okay, so you were a muscle and heart doctor? He's like, yes. Like, that's what he was trying to tell me by giving me this crazy ass name. So it was actually abbreviations and acronyms for something that I could search for on Google, which I thought was pretty cool. I went on with some other questions, like, I know that in India there's a caste system, so I said, were you from an upper caste, like a wealthy family? He said yes, which is why he was able to go to school and things like that. He did have an arranged marriage. However, he didn't have any kids. His wife was unable to have children, and she ended up dying rather young at the age of 21. So through his arranged marriage, he said he actually got along well with her for the time that they were together. He did love her deeply, and he ended up never getting remarried. Obviously, he died pretty young, but he didn't really consider that young back then, I guess, in 1961. I guess 40 is pretty young for 1961, but I'm not sure of the conditions of his country at the time. I asked him about his personality. He said that he was loving, he's funny, he's driven, he's hardworking, which is why I kind of got that sense of humor as he was like kind of giving me these answers here. Okay, so you guys can do something similar. I just want to, you know, show you that you guys can do something similar to that with the use of a pendulum. So it's not just, you know, yes, no, but you can have a lot of fun. You can do a lot of sleuthing with this. Okay, so now I want to bring in the tarot, and I actually want to bring in my Tarot del Fuego, and I just want to do like 3 follow-up questions to everything I got on here. So now we can incorporate our tarot a little bit. So the questions I want to ask, and here's the backing of my cards, is how is this past life that stepped through, it stepped through for a reason, how is it aiding me in this current life? My next question is, what are the unresolved, what's one of the unresolved issues of this past life that I am now dealing with in this life and hoping to resolve in this life? And question number 3, why did this, like, why step forward of all my past lives, which I know there was like quite a few. Why step forward now? Okay, so let's go ahead and pull a card. I haven't pre-pulled cards because, you know, I like kind of reading for you guys. So card number 1, how is my doctor's assistant from India, why is he me? How is he aiding me in this life? His talents, his skills. Okay. So I get the Magician. Okay, so what I'm getting is he was a master of his craft. He really enjoyed what he did. He loved being able to work on the human body, being able to understand the heart, being able to dive into text. He was, from what I'm getting from him, really book learned, you know, although he didn't stress himself out where he buried himself in his work, but I'm getting that, you know, he was highly intelligent and he could soak in and recall everything that he read. So that's like a really good sign of intelligence, you know. So what I'm getting from him is that in this life, although I'm not a doctor, I do have that interest in the human body, hence why I went and just decided, what the hell, I'm gonna get my personal training certification. And you know, and I love track and field, I love fitness, I love working out, I love being a track coach. So that drive and knowledge, you know, without stressing myself out, that I had way back when, is how he's kind of helping me in this life, kind of helping me with like coaching and things like that, even though I'm not a doctor. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, next What's one issue that he had during his lifetime that is now cropping up in this life? So an issue that my doctor had this. Okay. Okay, so next we have the Six of Swords. So unresolved issues at that time. Kind of what I'm getting is that he, whoa, wow. I'm like looking at like the tattoos on the leg here, and I just got like a burst of holy crap, it's India. And that kind of looks like the Persian. My goodness. Okay, I'm getting a lot from here. Okay, so through his doing medical and practicing, you know, medicine and things like that, he worked on a lot of his friends and family, tried to help them out. Unfortunately, at the time, he was saying there was a widespread illness kind of towards the end or the beginning of the 60s, ending of the 50s, and a lot of people had passed away. He had already suffered, you know, a while back, the death of his wife, the fact that he never got to have kids, and it just felt like he was on this long, lonely journey, you know, where he enjoyed helping people. He was a lovable guy, but inside there was like this feeling of loneliness. And so how, my gosh, that's translating to this time as though I'm surrounded by friends, I'm surrounded by people who love me, but I have also suffered a lot of death in this life. I have lost friends, I have lost family, and so although I am surrounded by all this awesomeness, there is a hole within inside myself in this life where it's like, you know, all the people I love kind of fall in this hole, you know, that have passed away, and it leaves me with this kind of darkness inside. And so perhaps that's something that, so I don't bring that into then another life, is something that I need to work on. How do I work on filling that hole and resolving that issue? Because I know for sure that people reincarnate. I know that everybody who's passed away, they're not gone for good. You know, I see ghosts, like I know I see spirit, I know they're there, but somehow I need to make that connection between, you know, my spiritual self and my human self, where I'm like, you know, I need to fill this hole somehow. So that's kind of what I'm getting there. Okay, my last question is why did my doctor dude, why did he decide to step forward today of all days and past life of all past lives? Why today, sir? Why step forward today? Well, okay, I get the King of Cups. And the reason I'm going, is because this morning I was doing a reading for somebody else. It's a close friend of mine. And he was being represented as the King of Cups. I know exactly who this is right away. So the reason that past life came forward is to let me know that, hey, your buddy is, you know, when we're talking about that empty space inside, your buddy has the same kind of issue going on. So maybe you can find a connection there. And the reason this person stepped forward was to kind of put that in my view, like my conscious mind saying, hey, you know this subconsciously, but consciously this person needs your help, and you can help this person because you are going through something very similar. So that's what I'm getting there. Awesome. All right, so that's it, you guys. Let me know if you enjoyed this, if you have any questions. Again, the book that I was using was Pendulum Magic for Beginners by Richard Webster. But again, I would say that beginners is misleading. There's a lot of interesting exercises you can use for the pendulum. So get out there with your pendulum and your cards and let me know what you guys come up with. What past life step forward? Did you find it easy? Did you find it difficult? Did you find it tedious to have to go and, you know, ask all those different questions? Was it kind of Indiana Jones-esque? You know, anything. So just let me know. If you would like to catch a reading with me, specifically a past life reading, you can do that by clicking on the information box below or one of these boxes that pops up here. And that's it from me, spiritual homies. So if you dug this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe. Again, you can do that up here. And I'll see you spiritual homies later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.